Welcome to Pontification Nation. I'm your host, Ricky Skittle, coming to you as always live from my mother's basement. A great show today. We're continuing our discussion about the shutdown and how Trump telegraphed the entire thing from start to finish, and everything went according to plan for him. So, without further ado, we'll continue. And if you're kind of wondering what we're talking about, you could come here and look at these two previous videos where I discussed the beginning of the shutdown, and then we get into phase one of the shutdown. So kind of moving on here to phase two and discussing, where he's at and how he's making his case to the American people and just owning the Democrats the entire way. Where we left off is right here where he's talking about how he's ready and willing to work with Democrats to pass a bill that secures the borders. So again, that's where we left off, and you can go watch those previous videos if you want to get caught up before you watch this one. Now, on the next day, he puts out a video, and we're going to watch this really quickly.
Illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple.
We will build the wall.
Okay, so here he is again promoting his agenda and his ideas to the American people and trying to get the facts and data out so that they can make an informed opinion on how they feel about our country's security and what is going on at the southern border. Next. Democrats could solve the shutdown problem in a very short period of time. All they have to do is approve real border security, including a wall, something which everyone other than drug dealers, human traffickers, and criminals want very badly. This would be so easy to do. Now, if you look at this and unpackage this tweet, something that everyone other than these people, he is lumping the Democrats in the opposition in with drug dealers, human traffickers, and criminals. And as you guys know, if you've been watching, my episodes, you know that at this show, we believe that there is corruption at the highest levels of government, and that it's possible and probable that there are payoffs and bribes being made to our politician and law enforcement officials in this country, just the same way as the cartels are doing it in Mexico. I believe that President Trump is calling these people out and, in a way, letting them know that he has a pretty decent idea that what they're doing as well. I could be wrong, but that's what this says to me. And with Trump, it's important to understand that everything that he says isn't always what he means, and everything that he means isn't always what he says. We are at war. Disinformation is necessary. We are working hard at the border, but we need a wall. In 2018, 1.7 million pounds of narcotics seized, 17,000 adults arrested with criminal records, and 6,000 gang members, including MS-13, apprehended. A big human trafficking problem. Okay, here, laying out facts and data that people can understand. None of this seems good, and this is what they're catching. Imagine what they're not catching. I mean, seriously, people, imagine what they don't catch. If this is what we catch, and we know how much drugs and etc. are in this country, what aren't they catching? Good Lord. The Democrats want billions of dollars for foreign aid, but they don't want to spend a small fraction of that number on properly securing our border. Figure that one out. Again, calling out the Democrats and getting facts and data to the American people. This was right around when they put forward a proposal of us sending $20 billion to Guatemala and El Salvador, etc. You know that this money will never reach the people that it is intended for. In the Reagan speech that I did on my channel, if you go and look at that speech, Reagan talks about, aid to the poor, how they should be able to give $4,500 a year to poor people with the amount of money they're spending and the amount of money that were in poverty. But for some reason, they were only giving $600. There must be some overhead somewhere. It goes to these countries. It does not go to the intended people. It stays in the hands of the corrupt politicians down there. Maybe the Democrats should just move to these countries and stay there. We'll pay them to do it. Next, just left a meeting with Chuck and Nancy, a total waste of my time. I asked what is going to happen in 30 days if I quickly open things up. Are you going to approve border security, which includes a wall or a steel barrier? Nancy said no. I said bye-bye. Nothing else works. Again, telling the people, because the Democrats, their whole opposition was government is shut down. We can't negotiate while government is shut down. You need to open government so that we can negotiate a solution to the problem, because you can't hold all these people hostage. Meanwhile, all the people that are being held hostage are Democrats, right? Because Democrats work in government. So it's absolutely disingenuous or a straight up lie for them to say anything about opening the government and offering some sort of negotiation or some sort of good faith effort to even try to get somewhere close to what he wants. Mainstream media has never been more dishonest than it is now. NBC and MSNBC are going crazy. They report stories purposely the exact opposite of the facts. They are truly the opposition party working with the Dems. May even be worse than fake news CNN, if that is even possible. So here again, talking about how the mainstream media is the arm of the Democratic Party, the propaganda arm of the Democrat Party, and making sure that the American people understand that, and that what they see on TV is probably not the truth or real. And I know liberals who get their information from MSNBC, and when I talk to them about things, they state blatant falsehoods as if they were true because they believe what MSNBC tells them, which is sad. But at the same time, you can't argue with a person who's crazy and has Trump derangement syndrome, because it's not fun or fair, because they don't understand the reality of the situation and they're brainwashed. Now, moving on, Trump retweets Dan Bongino. New poll. Vast majority of voters believe there is a crisis or problem at the U.S. border. A new Politico and Morning Consult poll finds that 79% of voters believe there is either a crisis or problem at the southern border. Okay? Now, Donald Trump already knew this. He's been following internal polling. He understands that he is on the side of the American people and that the American people are on his side. The only person, the only stakeholder in this that does not understand that are the Democrats. Their puppet masters understand it, and they're going to get them to come to the table. We've already seen now where there is a quote-unquote deal, which I'll talk about in the last video of this segment that we're doing, because it is the deal is a disgrace, and I pray that Trump does not accept it. But again, as I've been telling you, Trump is doing polling all along and crafting messaging to go along with that polling. So he understands what the people want and what the people need, and he is trying to give it to them, but also at the same time move public opinion in his favor so that he can accomplish what he wants to accomplish. This is a great tweet. Crying Chuck told his favorite lie when he used his standard soundbite that I slammed the table and walked out of the room. He had a temper tantrum because I knew he would say that. And after Nancy said no to proper border security, I politely said bye-bye and left. There was no slamming. Trump knows what these people are going to do because it's the same tired playbook that they've been using since Saul Alinsky's Rule for Radicals. Do dirty things and then blame other people on the dirty things you are doing. This is what they do. They're blaming Trump on all of the bad things that happen in this country that are actually their fault. It's unbelievable how they can blame Trump for all this stuff. I mean, Nancy Pelosi's been in Congress since 1986 or 7, and she's blaming Trump for the problems that the country has today. It doesn't make any sense. Moving on. President Obama, thank you for your great support. I have been saying this all along. He is a master troller, and this is another example of that.
We now have an actual humanitarian crisis on the border that only underscores the need to drop the politics and fix our immigration system once and for all.
Now, this is what Trump has been saying to the American people. We have a humanitarian crisis at the border. It needs to be solved. This is how we solve it. He put forward a presentation during the election about what he wanted to do. which included build a wall. And the American people elected him for that. The fake news media keeps saying we haven't built any new wall. Again, the whole time during this shutdown, they're out there saying that Donald Trump hasn't even used all the money that he got last year for the wall. So why is he arguing about getting more money this year? We haven't built any new wall. Below is a section of just completed on the border. Anti-climbing feature included. Very high, strong, and beautiful. Also, many miles renovated and in service. So here you see the wall. Here's the timestamp on the photo, October of 2018. Clearly, this is a construction area that is just being built. And this is the steel slab barrier that he's talking about, which looks like it would be pretty effective. This is a great series of tweets and very important to include, while not necessarily directly about anything that we're talking about, very important to talk about. I just watched a fake reporter from the Amazon Washington Post say that the White House is chaotic. There does not seem to be any strategy for this shutdown. There is no plan. The fakes always like talking chaos. There is none. In fact, there's almost nobody in the White House but me. And I do have a plan on the shutdown. But to understand that plan, you would have to understand the fact that I won the election and I promised safety and security for the American people. Part of that promise was a wall at the southern border. Elections have consequences. So again, totally calling these people out for saying that he's stupid, basically, and that he has no plan and there's chaos. What's the greatest trick the devil ever played? Convincing humans he didn't exist. Donald Trump has convinced these people that he is a bumbling buffoon, and he plays them every single day because they believe that. This is amazing. It's great to watch, and it's great for him to call it out and show the people really what's going on. We have a massive humanitarian crisis at our southern border. We will be out for a long time unless the Democrats come back from their vacations, quote unquote, and get back to work. I am in the White House ready to sign. Now, this is when the Democrats were famously in Puerto Rico in the middle of their, literally, the first time you've held a majority in the House of Representatives since 2010 when you slammed through Obamacare when nobody wanted it. And the first thing you do is schedule a 200-person vacation to Puerto Rico with lobbyists to watch Hamilton. I mean, that's during a shutdown. That's what they're doing. Then they were going to fly off to, her congressional delegation, but that was different, and we'll talk about that in the next video. The Trump portrait of an unsustainable border crisis is dead on. In the last 2 years, ICE officers made 266,000 arrests of aliens with criminal records, including those charged or convicted of 100,000 assaults, 30,000 sex crimes, and 400 violent killings. America's southern border is eventually going to be militarized and defended, or the United States, as we have known it, is going to cease to exist, and Americans will not go gentle into that good night. Patrick Buchanan. The great people of our country now demand proper border security. Now this is, kind of leading into the next strong push. We're going to start discussing more polling on the next video and how he starts to turn the facts and data into an all-out assault on the Democrats while letting them believe that they're winning. Thank you so much for watching today. I'm going to continue this. I'm just trying to do it in digestible pieces of video so you can watch at your own leisure. I don't want to cram all of this into an hour because it'll be probably pretty boring and not that much fun to watch for you. So I'm doing it in small slices. We'll continue getting the next piece out and the next piece out. And I do have some opinions I want to talk about, in the present as we kind of continue this discussion moving towards Friday when there most likely will be another shutdown. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, liking, and commenting. I appreciate it. For Pontification Nation, this is Ricky Skittle, and I'm out.